hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Exclusive and I'm Meghna Deka. Kaun Banega American Citizen? Well, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Well, viewers, days after Donald Trump's flurry of executive orders, there's been fear, there's been apprehension and anxiety in the immigrant population of United States. But is it legal or is it laughable, as his critics say? Well, the most controversial order, of course, is to end birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment. Essentially, the children of those who aren't US citizens may be born in the US, but they would not get a passport if their parents are not American citizens or at least green card holders. But it's the first one to hit a legal hurdle as well. In fact, a US federal court has now put a temporary block on the ban, which has to come into effect from the 19th of February. The US District Court Judge John Cogaynor has said that Trump's executive order blatantly is unconstitutional and issued a restraining order and blocking it from going into force. The judge has also said that the order boggles the mind and has even asked the lawyer for the Trump administration where were the lawyers when Trump's team drafted it. But what really is the 14th Amendment? It's important for us to understand that because it is, after all, at the center of this executive order. Well, it states, and you can see it on your screens as well, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. This means that anyone born in the US is a citizen at birth. However, Trump's executive order interprets this amendment quite differently. It says that the privilege of citizenship does not automatically extend to persons who are born in the United States. Essentially, children who are born to undocumented parents are not entitled to an automatic birthright citizenship. But the 4 states who have challenged this order have argued that the 14th Amendment automatically confers citizenship among all the individuals who are born in US and that the president does not have the power to amend the Constitution unless, of course, he has the backing of the legislative. Well, President Trump, of course, has said that he is going to be appealing against the federal judge's temporary block.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mr. President, a U.S. judge temporarily blocked the birthright citizenship order. Do you have any reaction?
No, obviously we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
In fact, Trump's order has led to chaos and panic in the Indian immigrant population. The children of Indians on work permits and in green card queues, of course, are going to be hit. Either they have to self-deport or they have to take up visas. Essentially, children born to people on work visas, such as H-1B and L-1 in the US, won't be born as American citizens unless one of their parents is a green card holder or an American citizen. Now remember, there are about 5.4 million Indian Americans in the United States as of 2024, which amounts to about 1.47% of the total population, and 2/3 of the Indian diaspora in the United States are first-generation immigrants. So faced with the looming deadline of 19th of Feb, many expectant Indian parents in the US, as per some reports coming in, are resorting to preterm C-sections to try and secure American passports for their children. Disastrous, of course, that is going to be, given the kind of outcomes that it may have on the lives and the health of their unborn child. Meanwhile, India has, of course, cleared its stand on the issue of immigration after the red flagging, the delay in issuing visas. It's also said that it's open to the return of any citizens who are residing in United States illegally. So let me go across to my panelists. Well, today we are being joined by Jennifer Irving, who is a spokesperson for Republicans overseas of UK. We also have Kshitij Agarwal, who's joining us, CEO of Tequila Global, Services Limited. And Sarah Spector is joining us, attorney and a Democrat analyst. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. I know it's early morning for all of you, so really appreciate the extra effort it perhaps takes. But then there, as you can understand, a lot of anxiety, a lot of misapprehensions which are doing the rounds. It's important that we get your views to weigh in as well. Jennifer Irving, I'm going to start with you because, well, the judge seems to be very categorical. He has said that when he gave out this, saying that this is completely unconstitutional, it is blatantly unconstitutional, the order boggles the mind, and where were the lawyers at the time of drafting it? This is John Kugner, who is, of course, the federal judge. How do you think you can bridge this? You, of course, have said that you will appeal against it, but on what grounds?
Oh, I haven't said I will appeal on it. As a matter of fact, of all of Trump's executive orders, this is the one that for sure will get the most pushback legally. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there were a lot of legal cases ready to go before his inauguration. What I think, and let's remember about President Trump, there's what he says and what he does. If you'll remember the H-1B visa argument that kicked off just before Christmas, I think this is just trying to draw more attention to the immigration situation in the United States, both illegal, which is obviously more dire, and then legal. So I think this spends a lot of time in the lower courts before it goes to the Supreme Court, if in fact it does. So with regards to that February 19th and the C sections, I don't think it'll get to that point. It certainly, I hope it doesn't.
Well, hopefully not, because, of course, the health of an unborn child, if these reports are to be believed, which have been coming in on U.S. media, are incredibly worrisome. Now, Sarah Spector, where do you see? You're also an attorney. So where do you see this case? What are the timelines that people must be looking at right now, preparing for? Because there seems to be a lot of panic, a lot of chaos, but very little information which is coming out as to what next.
Well, there are court cases all over the nation. Different judges are going to rule in, and there's a question whether it's going to get to the Supreme Court. If a judge somewhere decides that this is it is constitutional, not unconstitutional, then there'll be a split between courts, and that would be a way to get to the Supreme Court, which would take a long time. And the sad thing is we don't, even though as an attorney, and most attorneys believe this is an unconstitutional executive order, most attorneys believed that the president was not above the law. And then the Supreme Court came down and last year and said the president is above the law, which is it's incredible. And so we don't know what the Supreme Court is capable of. So the panic, and it's palpable in Texas. We have a lot of Indian medical doctors that have been brought here because we have a shortage in rural areas here. We have, of course, all the Mexican American citizens. And I can tell you, I know people. I have friends here who are in an extreme state of panic, and I can't calm them down because our Supreme Court has made some really incredibly crazy rulings, and I think that the panic should be real, and I think people should be making alternative plans in case they are kicked out of the country.
That's scary. But Sarah, I'll ask you another quick question. Do you think this is going to be resolved in the courts or in the legislation? Because one option, of course, is to get 2/3 majority and get it passed.
No, I don't hold any hope that our legislature at this time is going to do anything bipartisan. This is Trump and the Republicans have basically run on let's make America white again agenda. This is the underlying basis of Trump's popularity, unfortunately, in the United States. So the Republicans are not going to go against it. They just don't have the courage to stand up to Trump. So no, we're not going to get a 2/3 anything in legislators. So it's going to go up most likely through the court system. probably will hit the Supreme Court unless unless all the judges across the United States agree that there is no basis for this. I don't know if they will. I used to have faith in our appellate and our Supreme Courts. Again, I don't have faith. I can't give 100% assurance to any of my friends or clients of what's going to happen in the future.
Well, that's not really painting a pleasant picture, is it? Before I come to you, Kshitij, I think Jennifer should also be brought in to weigh in. Is that the aim, to make America white again? Because time and again, we have several faces, especially Indian American faces, who are part of the Republican team. They've all been coming out and say it's not racism. It is about making America great again, rich again.
Well, first of all, again, I don't think this will happen. I think this is to discourage further so-called anchor babies. But so I don't think there should be panic. I think everyone needs to calm down. That aside, with regards to Trump wanting to make America white again, that's categorically untrue. We know that he had a historic number of Hispanic people vote for him. He had increased number of Black men, of Asians, of all shapes and sizes. It was a real broad sort of selection of people and their backgrounds who, yes, wanted to make America great again because they wanted, their jobs. They wanted the foreign wars to end. They wanted a lot of different things. So people don't always vote on the color of their skin, which, I believe that's what Martin Luther King wanted, right? Content of character. But again, I think this is completely overplayed.
Okay.
And I don't think this is as big of an issue as it's being made out to be.
Well, Kshitij, I must come to you. What happens eventually perhaps doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is the Indian American community and the panic button that they, perhaps many would say understandably, have hit because of the ambiguity about where this is headed. What's the mood like? You have a huge amount of Indian Americans who are working with you at Tequila Global Services as well. How's the mood like?
See, of course, there are people who have spent more than a decade in US hoping for a citizenship one day, right? There are people who go to America being the most lucrative in terms of citizenship. So people have hope, people have dreams. And of course, this kind of news is very disheartening for them. It's, it discourages them a lot, right? But having said that, what I see is it's all about, as America, they have to also understand, America is run by immigrants, right? At least most of it. If I see the stats, out of Fortune 500 companies, almost 45% companies are founded by a second level immigrants, right? Name it like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and, Google and different things, right? So US has been blessed by having the top talent coming from across the world and making America great, right? And if they want to stop that, if they make America more difficult for immigrants to come in, they might start seeing for other options like Australia and Canada and few other options, who are welcoming them more than anything. And, everyone wants good talent, right? And if America wants it, it's great. If they don't want it, there are other takers, especially India as well, and maybe it's an opportunity for India as well.
Absolutely. Many of them to perhaps return. One quick question to Jennifer Ewing before I let you go. Jennifer, this is something that someone's posted on social media. I would just like you to respond to it. There is a person who has posted saying that I have been in US legally for the last 10 years. I have been paying my taxes for the last 10 years. My children are born here. Would it be fair that at the age of 18, you will have to deport them?
Again, I don't think
not legal, but is it fair?
It is well, I'm not a lawyer, unlike Sarah. So with regards to fair, I think the United States voters wanted Trump to start with illegal immigrants who were criminal. So there's about 1.4 million of those. So I think that's where his efforts are going to be. So
essentially, the mandate is going to justify. Mandate will justify the honor. And Jennifer, you of course did dodge my question, but thank you so much. I appreciated Jennifer Ewing for joining us, Kshitij Agarwal as well as Sarah Spector. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on the US courts to find out which way this one's going to be swinging. Without a short break, stay tuned.